As Ade's wealth grows, his heart is haunted by the haunting memory of his betrayal, unaware that Abeni, now reborn as Amara, is alive and plotting her revenge. When they finally come face to face in the bustling town of Ife, Ade falls to his knees in shock and regret, recognizing the love he once buried. Amara, steely and unyielding, confronts him with a cold fury, her new identity masking her painful past. The villagers of Mokola, puzzled by the familiar face and whispering suspicions, are drawn into the tense confrontation. Will Ade's remorse be enough, or will Amara's thirst for justice consume them both? The sun was setting over the village of Mokola, casting a golden hue over the fields and huts. In a small but well-kept hut, Abeni sat weaving a basket. She had been working all day, her hands skillfully moving the reeds, but her mind was elsewhere. Her thoughts were with her husband, Ade, who had not returned home since the morning. She loved him deeply, and they had been inseparable since their youth. They were the perfect couple, always supporting each other through thick and thin. Ade, however, had a secret ambition. He wanted to become the wealthiest man in the village, even if it meant making difficult choices. He had recently met a beautiful woman named Zuri, who promised to help him achieve his dreams of wealth and power. Zuri was not just any woman. She was known to possess strange and dark powers. She told Ade that he could have everything he desired, but there was a price to pay. One night, as Ade lay in bed beside Abeni, he thought about Zuri's words. She had told him that to gain great wealth, he had to sacrifice the person he loved most. Ade tried to push the thought away, but it kept coming back. He loved Abeni, but his desire for wealth was overwhelming. He knew he had to make a choice. The next day, Ade asked Abeni to accompany him to a secluded part of the forest. He told her that he had a surprise for her. Abeni, trusting her husband completely, followed him without hesitation. When they reached the spot, Ade began to dig a large hole. Abeni watched, confused, but still trusting. "Ade, what are you doing?" she asked, her voice filled with curiosity. "I have to do this, Abeni. It's for our future," Ade replied, avoiding her eyes. Before Abeni could react, Ade grabbed her and threw her into the hole. She screamed and begged him to stop, but his mind was made up. He covered the hole with dirt, ignoring her cries. Tears streamed down his face, but he kept going until the hole was completely covered. Abeni lay in the darkness, her heart breaking. She couldn't believe that Ade had done this to her. She felt the weight of the earth pressing down on her, and she struggled to breathe. Just when she thought it was over, she heard a faint sound above her. Someone was digging her out. A stranger had been walking through the forest and heard Abeni's cries. He worked quickly, pulling her out of the ground. Abeni gasped for air, her body weak and trembling. The stranger, an old man named Olu, took her to his hut and cared for her. "You are safe now," Olu said softly, "but you must leave this place. They will come looking for you." Abeni nodded, her mind racing. She knew she had to leave, but she also knew she had to get revenge. Ade had betrayed her, and Zuri had played a part in it. She needed a new identity, a new life, and a way to make them pay. Olu helped Abeni change her appearance. She cut her hair short, dyed it black, and started wearing different clothes. She chose a new name, Amara, and decided to move to the nearby town of Ife, where no one knew her. In Ife, Amara started a new life. She found work as a seamstress and kept to herself. But she never forgot her past. She wanted to make Adi and Zuri suffer for what they had done. One day, she met a man named Kofi, who held a high position in the government. He was kind and understanding, and Amara felt a connection with him. "Kofi, I need your help," Amara said one evening as they walked through the town. "There are people who have wronged me, and I need to make things right." Kofi listened to her story, his eyes filled with sympathy. "I will help you, Amara. You deserve justice." Together, they started planning. Amara knew she had to be careful. If anyone recognized her, Her plan would be ruined, but she was determined. She would not rest until Aid and Zuri paid for their betrayal. Back in Mokola, the villagers were suspicious. They had heard rumors of a woman who looked like Abeni living in Ife. But how could that be? Abeni was dead, or so they thought. Aid was filled with regret, his wealth bringing him no happiness. He missed Abeni and was haunted by his actions. One day, Aid traveled to Ife to find answers. As he walked through the town, he saw Amara. She looked different, but her eyes were the same. He couldn't believe it. "Abeni," he whispered, his voice trembling. Amara turned to face him, her heart pounding. "My name is Amara," she replied coldly. Aid fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. "I'm so sorry. I was a fool. Please forgive me." Amara looked at him, her eyes filled with pain and anger. "You buried me alive, Aid. You chose wealth over our love. There is no forgiveness for what you did." As the days went by, Amara and Kofi continued their plan. Amara knew she had to be strong, not just for herself, but for the stranger who had saved her life. She would get her revenge, and she would make sure that no one ever suffered the way she did.